So Rene spoke to us yesterday from Nemo's perspective and technologies. So today he will speak from obstetrician's perspective, right? And from, at least that's my agenda, from the perspective of someone who's seen it all in different ways in terms of implementation of technology and how delivery wards operate.
Thank you, Antonia. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Thank you. I'm trying to combine both my work as a gynecologist in the past and my work now as what I've learned in Nemo. Antonia asked me to tell something about the soft markers of the human factors, why it is difficult that new techniques enter the delivery rooms. We all know this, the history of fetal monitoring, and as you can see, in the years 60 there was some rapid change, but then it stuck. Why is there so little progress in 60 years? Is it all technical factors? This is Dubai 60 years ago, or 50 years ago, but this is it now. There's some huge improvement. This is a telephone 50 years ago. This is fetal monitoring 50 years ago. So do you see much improvement? Austin said yesterday, yeah, it looked nice. It has round edges. For perhaps it has a touch screen, but basically it's the same. Why is it that in an era where there are so many technical improvements in 50 years, that there is so less in fetal monitoring? Could it be that there are also human factors involved? And I checked some things. This is our device that we are bringing to hospitals, and I'm going to tell you now my experience on what we hear when we try to bring a new technique to the market. Because what is the background? This is the hierarchy in hospitals. Here the decisions are made, and here the decisions are felt. And I think that might be a very big problem, because the people in the field need to have the same mind to introduce it in their usual way. And there's conservatism. If you don't want to change, you're not going to change, you're not going to change, you're not going to change at all. And you can also ignore it, the need to change, because when you make a change and you look back, you see that what you did was wrong. If you did the CTG monitoring for 30 years and you rely on it, and then someone comes in and says that it doesn't work or something, then if you agree, you look back at your history and you say, wow, what did I do for so many years? So then it's easier to say, let's not make that change. Of course, there's doubt. Is that change, is that beneficial? Then there's workload. Everything that is new is a lot of workload for the people on the floor, because they are busy already so much. And then even in the evening they have to study, and that is exceeding workload. And it costs time during the work, and because you're then not busy with just patient work, the workload increases. And then there's insecurity. People think it's very challenging to do a new technique, and they are just based on their routine. That's the way they perform best. So it's very difficult to change. Then there's fear, because every new new technique costs money. And where does those money come from? It might be that the personnel will be reduced because there's a lack of money. And that can be you or your colleague. And if your colleague is fired, then the workload is again going up. So it's really difficult. And the last one is, with the numbers that we hear, we think that for fetal distress, etc., it's really, there's a sense of urgency to do it. But when you're on the floor and just working one-on-one, what are the probabilities to face such? I make an estimation just of a hospital that I know that has 2,000 deliveries a year, has 20 midwives. So every midwife does 100 deliveries a year. If we say that term perinatal damage is about 2 in 1,000, then every midwife has only one big perinatal damage in 5 years. And at the time you have this, you're shocked for at least half a year. But then there are a couple of years that everything goes right, and that you feel a reduced sense of urgency. So all these factors, they are important that they are managed by all. You can't only decide on the top what people in the field should do. Then I have a last personal thoughts on human factors. This is really personal, so don't blame me for it. Why do we not find the Holy Grail in fetal monitoring? Austin asked yesterday also, why don't we find it? And I say, when you go to a conference that repeats, so they are once and twice in 2 years or every year, or you see a lot of people that have repeating talks, like they had little or no progress at all in the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And how is that possible? I think that the goal of research is you have a hypothesis and you try to prove it. And if you find out that it's right, then you say, oh, I was right. And you consider everything that you did correctly. But if it was wrong, you're not saying, okay, then I stop this. But then you are going to argue, why didn't I find it? Because I think that it's still there. So you keep on going on the same track. And so we never drop our own hypothesis. And that's the reason I think that we don't make that much progress in research. And why? Because we are personally associated with earlier papers that we published and said that there might be some solution. And the study was granted by a donor that want us to prove it because they think that you're right. Because you never go to a subsidy that doesn't have any interest in what you're proving. So they want you to prove it. And then also papers are difficult because they only want to publish your paper when you find out that your hypothesis was right. If it was wrong, it's really hard to get your paper published. So I think we are not so receptive anymore for new hypotheses because we're still stuck in our own hypothesis and work our own career on that one. And if you think about the discovery of antibiotics, we all know Alexander Fleming, and he was trying to culture bacteria and the Staphylococcus aureus. And it was because there was a drip from his nose that fell in one of his Petri glasses. And the next day he came back, and the day after, and the day after. And he found out that one of his Petri glasses was not growing, or less growing culture. And he didn't think, I'm just busy making cultures, so this one is not right, and I throw it away. But he saw that there was something different with it. He was not faced on proving his hypothesis, but he saw something that he wasn't looking for. And that's serendipity. Serendipity is the unplanned, fortunate discovery. To find something that you were not looking for. And I think that the hampering factor for not finding the Holy Grail is that we are not serendip enough because we are stuck in our own persisting hypothesis. Thank you very much.